Hey guys, welcome back to T-Bones Tech. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the brand new Canon EOS M50. This camera has a 24 megapixel APS-C size sensor, and this is the same sensor found in the Canon 80D, the Canon SL2, and the Canon T7i. So as far as image quality, all these cameras are going to be almost identical. The big difference between this camera and all the other cameras listed is this camera is a mirrorless camera. So like I said, the EOS M50 is a mirrorless camera, and that means that when you're looking down the viewfinder, you're not actually looking down a mirror. You're actually going to be looking at an OLED display. And what's really cool about mirrorless cameras is because of that OLED display, you can see all the information that you'd see on the back of your LCD display right in your viewfinder. And that means that you can actually have focus peaking available, and you can now shoot video while looking down the viewfinder. Of course, when filming with a traditional DSLR, the mirror is going to flip up and expose the sensor, and because of that, you can't look down the viewfinder while recording video. I find that handheld shooting with a mirrorless camera is extremely steady and easy, and that's because you can use 3 points of contact on your camera, where when shooting with a traditional DSLR, you're going to have to hold it kind of like this while looking at the LCD screen, and that's just going to make things a lot less stable. As far as battery life goes, the EOS M50 gets about 250 pictures on a single charge. Now that's not too bad considering that it is a mirrorless camera and it is also very small. But a DSLR gets about 700 to 1,000 pictures on a single battery life. Now the main reason why DSLRs get much better battery life than mirrorless cameras is because when you're looking through the viewfinder on a mirrorless camera, you're actually looking at a display which is powered by the batteries. You're actually looking at an OLED display. But when you're looking down the viewfinder on a DSLR, you're looking right down a mirror and it's not using any battery life to power that whatsoever. And because of that, DSLRs are always going to get a lot better battery life than mirrorless cameras are. The M50 has a built-in electronic level, which can really help make sure that every single one of your pictures is going to be perfectly level. You can see that level here on the back LCD panel, and you can also see it here looking down the viewfinder. The other big difference between the EOS M50 and we'll say the T7 is going to be the mount. The Canon T7 fits EF and EFS lenses right on the camera. You don't have to have any adapters or anything like that. But the EOS M50 has Canon's M mount. What that means is to mount EF lenses or EFS lenses, you're going to have to get an adapter. You can pick up one of these adapters for around $150 on Canon's website. You can get them a little cheaper on Amazon, but this adapter is going to sit in between the camera body and your EF or EFS lens. This adapter is just that. It is an adapter, it is not a speed booster. So it's not going to add any extra stops of brightness to your camera's body. It's just going to allow the camera to attach to EF and EFS lenses. If you've previously owned any other DSLRs and you have a whole bunch of lenses, I definitely recommend getting this adapter. It's not going to make the image quality any worse, and it's going to still keep autofocusing, image stabilization, and any other feature that you'd find on your lens natively with a DSLR. The EOS M50 is an extremely small and lightweight camera. As you guys can see, this camera fits completely in the palm of my hand, and the M lenses that come with this camera are also extremely small. So here we have attached a Canon 15 to 45mm lens. The EOS M50 is gonna be great for travel photography. You can just take off this small little lens and actually stick that in your pocket and then fit the body of the camera in your pocket too. It's gonna be much thicker than an iPhone, but as far as size goes, an iPhone is actually much bigger than the M50 is. And that makes the M50 extremely portable. One of the biggest features of the M50 is it can shoot 4K at 24 frames per second. The 4K quality video is very pretty and very sharp, but unfortunately there are definitely some big downfalls of 4K on the EOS M50. The first is there is a 1.7 times crop factor when shooting in 4K. So take whatever focal length you're shooting at and then multiply it times 1.6, and that's going to give your equivalent focal length of this camera. That crop is great if you're shooting wildlife photography and you want to get as close as possible to your subjects. But unfortunately for most filmmakers, that 1.7 times crop factor is going to make filming wide shots almost impossible. There also is a decent amount of rolling shutter found on the EOS M50 when shooting in 4K. If you guys want to watch a video where I go more in depth into 4K on this video, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. I also made a video test of this EOS M50, so if you guys want to see the video that this camera is capable of taking, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below to that video too. Also, speaking about video, the EOS M50 can shoot 120 frames per second video, which is going to give you some pretty decent slow motion. It also has Canon's Digic 8 image processor, and it's going to give this camera native ISOs from ISO 100 all the way to ISO 25600, with an additional expanded ISO all the way to ISO 51200. And because of that, it's going to be great for low light photography. The M50 has Canon's advanced dual pixel AF. It's going to give you spot on autofocusing, almost as good as would be found on a traditional DSLR. And that means that when you're shooting portraits with this camera, it's actually going to autofocus on the eye of the subject, and that's exactly where you want your key focus to be on a portrait. It also has touch drag AF, which I find to be extremely helpful when shooting video or even when taking pictures. And touch AF means that you can use your touchscreen as basically a trackpad, and you can move the focus point with the touchscreen while you're looking down the OLED viewfinder, and you can change the focus nice and smoothly. And that's a really amazing feature when filming video. Unfortunately, that feature is disabled when shooting in 4K. It's only going to be enabled when shooting 1080p. Another really cool feature of the M50 is its very angled display. So you can flip it over like this and keep the screen safe from scratching, but you can also flip it out and you can also see yourself and take selfies and be able to frame the selfies very well. It's also gonna be great for vlogging. And another thing that's really helpful with this very angled display is you can also get some high up shots by looking up at your LCD, and you can actually still frame your pictures while your camera is much higher than you are. It has built-in Wi-Fi and Nfc, and that means you can connect the M50 to your smartphone via Canon's Camera Connect app, and from there you can use your iPhone as a live view remote. You can change settings like the aperture, your ISO, and your shutter speed, all from your phone, and of course you can take picture, again, straight from your phone, and then you can easily transfer your pictures from your camera right to your smartphone, and then you can easily post them to social media. Canon's Camera Connect is absolutely amazing. That means you no longer have to take your laptop with you on vacations. You can just take the EOS M50 and your smartphone and you're good to go. As far as weight goes, this camera is extremely lightweight. It feels almost as lightweight as my iPhone does. If you guys think that the SL2 is lightweight, wait till you guys get your hands on this camera. The M50 has a nice and handy infinity mode dial, which is going to allow you to scroll endlessly through the different shooting settings. And that's so much better than the alternative where you get all the way to the end and then you gotta start from the beginning again. The M50 has two microphones here at the base of the camera, but also has a 3.5mm plug. So if you guys want to plug in a shotgun microphone, you can definitely do that to be able to get higher quality audio. The SD card slot is located here at the bottom of the camera, and that can be very annoying if you guys have your camera hooked up to a tripod. The tripod plate is going to cover up the SD card slot, and that means that if you want to pull your videos right from your camera, you're gonna first have to take off your tripod plate. Right here on the side of the camera is a USB and HDMI out. HDMI out is going to allow you to easily plug in a field monitor to the top of this camera. Field monitors are great for checking focus, and they're also great for reviewing video. My biggest complaint of this camera is probably how small the buttons are on this camera. When you're looking down the OLED viewfinder, it's really hard to be able to figure out what buttons you're supposed to press, and that means that just changing all these settings really gets very tedious. But considering that that's my biggest complaint, I think this camera is actually pretty great. As far as pricing and availability goes, this camera cost around $780 on Canon's website. However, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below where you guys can check this camera out on Amazon. I find that Amazon usually has the best prices, so for current pricing and availability, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below where you guys can check this camera out on Amazon. As far as overall performance go, it really does stack up to the Canon 80D and the Canon T7i. It has an incredibly awesome autofocusing system. It's great for video. It can shoot 4K even though it's a little bit handicapped. And as far as image quality, it takes the exact same pictures as the Canon 80D and the T7i would. Here's a test picture between the T7, pictured here on the left, and the M50, pictured here on the right. I shot both these cameras at ISO 3200, and our aperture I believe was f1.8. As you guys can see, the background blur looks basically the exact same on both these pictures. I made sure to manually focus both these images right on the Purcell etch logo here in the lens, so that's where our key focus is for these pictures. As you guys can see, again, our depth of field is very similar. The brightness and the colors again are almost identical. Both these two pictures were shot using the exact same lens. That lens was the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8 lens, and for this sample picture we zoomed all the way out to 35mm. So the M50 definitely stacks up to Canon's other APS-C sized cameras, which have 24 megapixel sensors. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, definitely make sure to give this video a big thumbs up down below. And of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button, then be notified when I release new videos to this YouTube channel. Again, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will catch you all in the next one.